आरे के पेड़ों को जीने दो।
600 acres of land in Aarey Milk Colony.
आरे के अंदर 100 साल के ऊपर है, उसके अंदर खिल्ला मार रहा है, बोलेगा तो तुम्हारे बदन में आप खिल्ला मार रहा है।
This is Aarey Milk Colony, 1,281 hectares, home to 290 wildlife species, 27 tribal settlements with over 10,000 Adivasis, and known as the Green Lungs of Mumbai. For 6 years, it had been at the forefront of an ongoing battle between the state government and the people of Mumbai over this issue. The clearing of trees for the construction of a metro car shed. Today, after continuous protests, petitions, cutting of more than 2,000 trees and a change in government, the struggle has come to an end with Aarey Milk Colony being declared a reserve forest. On 11th October, Maharashtra CM Uddhav Thackeray declared 808 acres of Aarey Colony land as a reserve forest by issuing the final notification of Section 4 of the Indian Forest Act. As a reserve forest, Aarey would be protected by the state government, and activities like hunting, grazing cattle, collecting timber, and public entry would be banned without infringing upon the rights of Adivasis. This heartening move by the Maharashtra government saved the only forest in a booming city like Mumbai. The focus on national development above environment protection has been a debated issue since India's independence. Aarey Milk Colony was established in 1949 to serve as a government dairy farm as a way to relocate cattle farms around the city, with 30 to 40 farms here in Aarey. It was inaugurated in 1951 by then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, with him planting a sapling there. It stood between Sanjay Gandhi National Park to the east and developing Western Express Highway. The development plan of 1964 drew up boundaries reserving this area for dairy farming. As the city of Mumbai grew around 3 sides of Aarey, it was declared a no development zone as part of the 1981 development plan. However, the boundaries drawn up for this were 23% less than those reserved in 1964. This excluded the plots for Royal Palms Golf Course and Film City, for which 200 hectares of forest was cleared in 1977. Jump to 2010, when 40 acres of forested land was cleared to include a night safari route for the Baikula Zoo. About 800 hectares of Aarey was declared a green zone in 2016, but this excluded the area for the car shed. The forest area further continued fragmenting with this de-reservation of the NDZ area. And with this, the proposed land use for the 2034 development plans such as Metro Car Shed and R&R housing would completely sever Aarey from SGNP. Over the years, environmentalists and activists have battled to save the last green patch in Mumbai, whether through word of mouth, hosting silent protests, conducting plantation drives, recreating the Chipko movement, or forming 3-kilometer-long human chains around the area. Their struggle, although long fought, was anything but in vain. This attitudinal shift in people regarding the trees of Aarey started on 23rd November 2014. MMRC and MMRDA tagged over 2,700 trees to be cut down in Aarey for the construction of a car shed for an ongoing project on the Mumbai Metro Line 3. As part of the project, 33.5 km Aqua Line or the Kolaba-Bandra Seeps line was being built. Concerned citizens filed objections with the tree authority and moved to public interest litigation the following month. There were several points raised by environmental activists. Adivasis would be displaced without rehabilitation, biodiversity would be at stake, saplings could not compensate for deforestation, and floodplains could cause disaster. It would also be the destruction of the only natural air purifier in a concrete jungle. The Mumbai Tree Authority, responsible for approving removal of trees in the city, did not give its assent to the original proposal. The same year, a technical committee was appointed by the state government, led by CM Fadnavis, to review the car shed's location. This committee ruled that Aarey was the most suitable location for the car shed, despite consulting with environmental experts, resulting in another human chain at Marine Drive, which was now attended by 2,500 people. However, in May 2015, NGOs One Shakti and Aarey Conservation Group moved the National Green Tribunal to declare Aarey Colony a forest and an eco-sensitive zone. The NGT directed that no construction activity can be carried out in the entire Aarey Colony without the approval of the tribunal. In a well-timed stroke, the Union Ministry of Environment declared SGNP as an eco-sensitive zone for construction activities, but this excluded about 165 hectares of Aarey. With NGT's status quo still standing and Centre's exclusion of Aarey as an eco-sensitive zone, MMRCL conducted soil testing in Aarey with a large contingent of police on standby. The citizens in retaliation filed a complaint with the Aarey police station. By December, the Bombay High Court dismissed the PIL filed by citizens and lifted the stay order on cutting of trees for the Metro 3 project. The petition to declare Aarey as a forest was moved from the Divisional Department of NGT to the Principal Bench in Delhi. The latter ruled it did not have jurisdiction over this issue, suggesting the petitioners to withdraw their petition and approach either the High Court or Supreme Court. In September, however, the MTA issued a notice calling for any objections to the removal of 2,702 trees from the car shed site. A public hearing was held, which saw a gathering of hundreds at MTA's office. Following this, the High Court prohibited the Tree Authority from issuing any permissions until it appointed experts. So in April 2019, the Tree Authority finally got 5 experts on board, and on August 29, they passed the proposal regarding felling of trees in Aarey Colony. The High Court dismissed 4 petitions against the proposal, questioning the legality of BMC's Tree Authority's permission, asking for Aarey to be declared a floodplain and a forest. Around 8 p.m., merely hours after the Bombay High Court rejected another petition, MMRCL began chopping down over 2,000 trees. Protesters rushed to the site in a siege that escalated by 2 a.m. The government invoked Section 144, which lasted for 3 days and forcibly evicted over 100 protesters, detaining 29. On October 7th, the MMRCL announced in its first statement that 2,141 trees had been cut, though this figure is disputed. A few key differences can be noticed from how the Aarey situation was handled by both Fadnavis-led government before the elections and Thackeray-led Shiv Sena after the elections. Fadnavis government decided on Aarey based on urban development goals, where trees, a scarce resource in Mumbai, were earmarked to be cut down to urbanize the area. Thackeray government, on the other hand, decided on the previously suggested open fields of Kanjarmarg, addressing both environmental concerns and disputed ownership issues over this government-owned land. The MMRCL claimed that Kanjarmarg was privately owned and construction there would cost 5,000 crore rupees. Fadnavis also added that shift to Kanjarmarg would delay the project by more than 4 years. Kanjarmarg, available free of cost, will also help integrate 2 metro lines, Line 3 and Line 6, further connecting the neighbouring Thane district to several key businesses and commercial centres in southern and western Mumbai. Another major role played in the last 6 years was that of the activists, environmentalists and protesters. A month before the trees were cut, a full-page ad was placed by the MMRCL in the Hindu, Indian Express and Hindustan Times in an attempt to debunk the claims of protesters. The ad, however, did not address several points of the activists, just like how petitioner objections were disregarded in public hearings. The difference is more evident when we compare how demonstrators were treated the day the trees were cut. Police were at the site, Section 144 was imposed, people were beaten with lathis and detained for days. This whole ordeal came to an end after election, when the first major decision made by the new government was to bestow the status of reserve forest on Aarey Milk Colony. Thackeray government's decision is an epitome of environmental justice. and now the long conflict over Aarey can come to an end. Of course, the project will be delayed by a few years, and costs might increase. But the fact is, there is only one tree for every 4 people in Mumbai, and if it's a question of national development, human health surpasses all other priorities.